Today we're going to talk about what's going on with Royce Keys and also what we think should happen with Royce Keys going forward into WrestleMania. Obviously you want to debut someone like him at a big spot, and they did do that at Royal Rumble, but you probably want to put him in a big spot to kind of re-debut him again after being gone for so long after that debut.
Yeah, it's been a little over 2 months since we've seen him debut now, and not getting anything from him, it does feel like a little bit of a disappointment because he was a big signing. And I thought he was going to be somebody we'll at least see on weekly television until we finally do get a real story out of him. But it feels like we're going to get the opposite of that. We're going to wait until they have a full story built for him before showing him off on TV.
Yeah, we have seen his debut on the Royal Rumble, like I mentioned earlier, but he also had a couple of SmackDown Dark matches. We see 2 of them with Rey Fenix, 1 with Chris Sabin, 1 with Alex Shelley, and 1 with Nathan Frazier. So he has been seen on SmackDown Dark matches across different SmackDowns episodes, so it's not like he's been completely gone. He's being seen there, as well as a couple of main event matches, things of that nature. So it's been a very interesting time for him, because obviously he was just in the AEW World title picture with Hangman Adam Page. Now he's doing these kind of things, but I do kind of still expect something big to happen for him.
Yeah, I could imagine WWE using the live events as kind of a test tool to see what the reaction of Royce Keys is in WWE, whether they want him as a face or as a heel. So I feel like they're kind of just seeing how they want to go, which I do feel like is something that is kind of a good thing for Royce Keys, that you do have 2 ways to go. So even if you do kind of fail in the first run as a baby face, you can go back as a heel, maybe patch some things up, and then you always go back to baby face as well. Because I do think he plays both roles pretty well.
And now we want to talk about what is the potential of Royce Keys in WWE. What are the peaks we think he could get? What are maybe some of the lows that we think they could book him in potentially? And I guess we want to talk a little bit about that in this part of the video. And I guess the part for me is, what championships can he win? And unfortunately for me, I don't really see him winning a WWE World Championship. Obviously with the way they're booking him right now, that's a big telltale sign that if they did feel like that, they would have put him in a big spot. He would have had some kind of big build going into WrestleMania or something of that nature, but they haven't done any of that. So that leads me to believe that that title isn't going to happen, unfortunately.
Yeah, being a world champion in WWE right now is a very hard thing to accomplish. There's a lot of top guys who are still around who are probably also in some of their later years of their career. So a lot of those guys still want to be at the top while they go out. So yeah, he's a guy who unfortunately will probably be on the lower side of that list. But yeah, I think eventually if he gets super over, kind of like we've seen some other guys, kind of have a huge rise to fame, he could maybe achieve that, but I don't think he will. So yeah, I think kind of he'll probably stick around those mid-card champions for the most part.
Yeah, I could see him winning that U.S. Championship, some tag team titles, an IC title, things of that nature. If somehow he does go to NXT, I could see him winning the world title that way. But unfortunately, on that main roster, I just don't really see it happening. But some big accomplishments that I think he can do, at least one that I think he can accomplish, is the Royal Rumble. I do think that he is a good person to put in world title matches, to be that big heel or babyface, whoever you need to be in that situation. Probably most likely a heel. If I had to guess on WWE booking, they like to book the big guys as heels most of the time. So I think I would prefer him as a heel as well. But I can see him winning the Royal Rumble as this big heel, going into WrestleMania, unfortunately losing, but putting on a big fight and yeah, being that big person to help build him up when he does get that Royal Rumble win, because that would be kind of a big establishing win for someone like him, of course.
Yeah, he is the perfect archetype for a Royal Rumble, so he definitely would be a good pick to win one year. But yeah, I think the potential that have happening is probably a little bit slimmer than some of the other the United States and mid-card champs we talked about. But yeah, I do think at the very peak, he probably could maybe win the Royal Rumble.
And now, speaking of WrestleMania 42, we're going to give you 3 matches going from worst to best case scenario of what we think Royce Keys should go into heading into WrestleMania. And for the first one, the worst option of the 3 is going to be he just goes into the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. Obviously, that's the one that I believe Carmelo Hayes won last year, and it really hasn't done anything for him. It doesn't really do anything for anyone at any point, really. So this would be definitely worst case scenario here.
Yeah, it's something that doesn't have a lot of meaning in terms of the door and the WWE storyline. So obviously that's gonna be unfortunate, but also it also means he won't be at WrestleMania either, because that's something that's been consistently on the SmackDown Go Home show, or sometimes even the week before the Go Home show. So yeah, unfortunately that will be a very bad situation. Hopefully he won't be there.
And for our second match, that's kind of like a, I guess a whatever kind of thing. At least it's with a big celebrities. It would be Royce Keys and Jelly Roll going against Kit Wilson and The Miz. It would at least put them in a big moment on WrestleMania, on a big stage with a person like Jelly Roll. And obviously they like to put new people versus people like The Miz and Kit Wilson, things of that nature. So I could see this being a thing for sure. It has been a little bit rumored going into this WrestleMania. So there is at least a little bit something to this.
Yeah, this one I hope also doesn't necessarily happen because I want something better and bigger for Royce Keys. I think if we're going to wait so long for him to kind of finally have his big moment, if we're going to have him at WrestleMania, I wouldn't want him to kind of be in this storyline. So yeah, I think I would rather him go in somewhere else. Definitely in that third option we're about to talk about.
And the third option that you just mentioned is going to be Gunther goes out to WrestleMania and does an open challenge. That would be the best case scenario. You see him do that. Royce Keys comes out and is the person to come out. Maybe he even defeats him to give him that big WrestleMania moment to kind of break that career killer thing for Gunther. That way he could just kind of go into being just a ring general from now on rather than that career killer. But it would also make Royce Keys for sure having that big win over a guy like Gunther at WrestleMania. It would definitely make the wait from Royal Rumble to WrestleMania worth it if you were to do something like that.
This is one of the matches I want most out of Royce Keys in WWE. I think a match with him and Gunther would be an absolute banger. And if this were to happen, that's all come as we said, as an open challenge from Gunther. And if he does pick up that win, obviously, like you mentioned, it's obviously big. So yeah, I think Royce Keys. I hope this is something along the lines of this match. Hopefully, it is something that I would rather it have some type of build up to the match. But if this is the only way we can get him on there, I'm not too mad about it.
We've seen him in AEW have matches with people like Wardlow, so I think that could kind of replicate that energy with Gunther, obviously being a better wrestler than Wardlow, of course. I think that would be an amazing match between these two, and I think that would be a good payoff, like I said, for that weight, going all the way from Royal Rumble to WrestleMania to get a big match with Gunther. That would definitely be worth it. And it would kind of be maybe a downgrade for Gunther, I guess. It would kind of, I don't know how to feel about it from Gunther's side of things, I guess, from this point of view. But I think it would be kind of a downgrade a little bit, at least, for Gunther.
So will Royce Keys show up at WrestleMania? That's the question I want you guys to answer down in the comments below. What would you like to see from Royce in WWE? And yeah, if you guys haven't already, make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And we'll see you guys in the next one.